tied up, holding lanes. Standard thing going on by both support characters, not taking any last hits, letting their respective AD champions get a lot of gold, because you know what AD champions scale with? Like, money. They scale with money. Obviously they scale with, like, physical damage. They scale with damage items, but specifically the base damage for abilities from AD carries is generally low. That is a general rule. It does not hold with everyone. For instance, Corki has very high base damage on his spells, his Phosphorus Bomb, and his Gatling Gun. But most carries, like Misfortune and Vayne, scale with items. So it's more important, or how should I phrase this? The reason why you see an AP carry taking a solo mid, and an AD carry getting a support bottom, rather than switching those around, is that Vladimir and Annie are both going to they're both going to scale very well with items, sure, but they're going to scale especially well with levels, because the base damage on their abilities is very significant. So you want them to have the experience bonus. So they're putting them in the solo lane helps them get that. You can get the AD carry as much gold as possible, because they're not sacrificing gold by being in a lane with support, because the support's not taking any creep score. He's only sitting there and helping that AD carry. So that is why you don't see the AP and AD carries switched as much. Another reason why is because generally escape abilities are found more on AP carries, or not AP carries, but magic using champions. Like Vladimir, his pool, Annie having a stun. They have more utility by themselves and can avoid ganks more easily. AD carries like MF, she has no real escape. Vayne does kind of have some escapes, but she's a particularly mobile AD champion. So having a support there helps them stay alive in their lane. And of course, some kind of tanky DPS, or something that kind of fills this role, like Aurelia, Singed. Any good choice for top lane. You're gonna watch me probably get flung into the tower again, because I'm a doofus. Udyr doing some good counter jungling, grabbing blue. I think Trundle will actually show up to this. I could be wrong though. No, I think he might actually get away with it scot-free. He gets away with it, and he is free of Scott. So yes. Again, Trundle somewhere on the map, and if Riot would get their act together, I would be able to tell you. Oh, me getting flung. Thankfully not into the tower. Yeah. Good stuff, good stuff. Annie opening up with that Catalyst, probably almost definitely rushing the Rabadon's Death Cap. One of the biggest openings that you've been seeing in AP carries recently is to get the Catalyst for sustainability. Of course, this is AP carries that have mana, of course. Vladimir would not be an example of this. But Anivia, Annie, even Orianna. Although, I'll talk about her viability some other time. We'll get this Catalyst and then immediately run the Death Cap. Just to abuse, well, AP scaling. Let's see, Udyr hanging around in bottom. I can't tell if these people are low, but it looks like the aggressive stance is definitely with Vayne and Soraka. Although, looks like Chili is getting a lot of last hits, basically even with Vayne. Jarvan, you have what is mine. Yeah, this is, yeah, stealing blues. Anyway. Jarvan getting a lot of farm. Also, on top of that, has a Philosopher's Stone, so getting a lot of gold up here against Singed. Singed, not having any ranged abilities. Fling is a very, very short range. If you've never played Singed, go play Singed for a game and pick Fling, and you can. The circle is so tiny, it's laughable. So having no real range makes it a little bit hard to deal with Jarvan's ridiculously long lance, and seriously, it is very long. Vladimir building into that Hextech Revolver to get the extra spell vamp to just make him the ultimate Gosu lane sustainability champion. Annie, again, as I said before, no back yet from either of the AD carries, but we have, and no back from either of the support characters yet either. Same thing to say about Dorian's Ring that I do have to say about Meki Pendant. Again, your role is to not deal damage. Your role is to, support your AD carry, and then have a lot of utility in the later game, like Tarek's stun. Well, that's actually viable as utility in the early game, but then stun is ult, stuff like that. Udyr moving around, setting some good wards, getting vision near Dragon. I think you can actually see Dragon thanks to that ward. Yeah, you can actually see Dragon. That's good. Try to avoid ever placing a ward just where you can't see Dragon. It's usually not really worthwhile, and it's nice to just be able to have a tab on that. Vlad pooling, being a little aggressive on Annie in the mid. I'm getting some weird lag, and looks like they're just trading blows at this point, so no killing blows yet. Udyr having backed, Jarvan having backed and using teleport to get back into the lane. Keeping that health differential on Singed pretty high. Singed has his ult, of course, to increase his health regen for a period of time, but it's not as effective as you might think until you get like a Rod of Ages. Hitting Rod of Ages with Singed is basically where you start to like go into overdrive and have a lot of health, a lot of mana, which gives you more health, and some AP to deal some extra damage. Oops. Camera jumps to Edwin Moles, because that's, of course, me. Going for the ultimate gold per 5, I believe, on Jarvan. Yep, grabbing that heart of gold as well. Items so far, pretty standard. We got Vladimir building that Hexagon Revolver. Boots of Swiftness, not really a great choice on Vlad. You would think, you know, move speed for staying in range is great, but it doesn't synergize well with any of his abilities. I mean, yeah, Boots of Swiftness are great. They let you stay in range. Works also for Anivia, works also for Annie, works also for LeBlanc or anything like that. But what you're missing out on are the cooldown reductions from the Ionian Boots, or potentially the Magic Pen from Summoners, from the, oh, what are those called? Oh, I'm going to miss a gank. Anyway, so Vladimir coming in, pulling in. Ooh, not a good use of pull there. I could see why you want to slow her, but if she turned around and stunned you, you would definitely want to dodge that stun with her pool. And honestly, pool no longer increases your move speed. So unless you're right on top of them and you are going to slow them, then there's no real reason to pull. Then the best Vlads have to be really careful and really smart with when they use their pool, because that's really like what makes the good Vlad. Anyway, back to the boot choice. The M-Pen or the cooldown reduction, you're just going to find are going to be much more useful than the extra move speed. There was a good pool. Keep in mind that Trundle was recently seen top, so Vlad could use that pool and probably know that he's going to get the cooldown back without having to worry about Trundle coming in. Udyr hanging out in top, see Trundle coming in. I believe at this point, I spent a lot of this game telling Switch to go away. I was doing fine in my lane, so I remember saying, go gank Annie, go gank Vayne. We could have used Udyr down bottom. That could have been really effective considering how pushed the other team was. And I know that Udyr was bottom at some points, so I'm not criticizing at all. A lot of damage going on from Vayne on Nate. I keep saying Nate, Chili. Get better at that. Although I can't actually see how much damage. Sona obviously healing her right back up again. And Soraka doing the same. Take a drink, some water here. Udyr been seeing a lot of play since his buffs. In fact, the game after this, which was ruined by a DC from me and Spot on the blue there, which is ruined by a DC from me and the Ulf, unfortunately, included a laning Udyr by Power Scroll. That I think actually did not do too terrible. Anyway, Udyr engaging against Trundle right here in the enemy jungle. Moving up, Trundle hitting his, I forget the name of that ability, but the thing that increases attack speed and move speed to help get away. Meanwhile, bottom pushing again, Udyr would be great to move down at this point and try to gank Soraka, gank Vayne, something like that. Meanwhile, Jarvan pushing again against Singed. Gonna get flung into the tower. You gonna do it? You gonna do it? No, I'm gonna be smart. Okay. Trundle under the watchful eye of Udyr's ward, gonna try to take blue again. Does that successfully, taking out those little dudes. Annie doing some damage. Annie now, exactly, building right into that Rabadon's death cap, even before finishing her boots too, getting that needlessly large rod for a lot of AP. The biggest change, the reason that Annie's, of course, become so powerful recently is that a couple patches ago they increased her AP ratios, something that she apparently had been not keeping up with, next to some of the newer AP carries. So they're increasing your AP ratio, so Rabadon's death cap is a very, very good item on Annie. Jarvan being a douche, having a shield. Sin's doing a very good job of farming. He's definitely starting to build this up, but he doesn't quite have that Rod of Ages yet. And a very passive game. You notice no kills on either team yet. Very, very well played by both. And we have an ult from MF with a gank from Udyr. There we go, Udyr. Getting in there, doing a lot of damage, most likely forcing a back on Soraka. Looks like, see, I can't tell. I don't know how much health they have. Looks like they're fine. Maybe it was a totally terrible gank. I don't know. I do know that First Blood should be coming up pretty soon. Oh, and we have Vlad coming in with an ult. Moving in, ghosting, pulling under the tower, and grabbing First Blood on Annie. Getting attacked by Trundle. Trundle throwing his ult down, his queuing him, but it looks like Vlad will get away. And Andy with the well played. Nice manners, Manticles. Wait, you know how to do it, man. This is so boring next to everything else. But a lot of farm for Jarvan, a lot of farm for Annie, a lot of farm for Vayne. Looks like, oh, they were tied for a second there. Private School playing a very nice Vayne, rushing that Infinity Edge for incredible burst damage, because if you can manage to get a crit on Vayne with Infinity Edge coming out of a roll, it hurts, man. Oh, God, it just tears people apart. MF, meanwhile, rushing a, I think actually gets a Bloodthirster. We'll see. Can't exactly remember. No vision at Dragon right now for blue team. We'll notice it's 18 minutes, unless I somehow missed it, which is very possible because was top lane. I don't remember. A Dragon, I don't think a Dragon has been taken yet. Anyway. Also, Singed, yeah, really kicking it up in the CS there. Vladimir doing very well, and Trundle and Udi are staying relatively even. Yeah, so far, and he's taking up her stun, so we have 1 kill. And Vlad, let's see, Vlad can't click on Vlad, jeez. Hasn't actually backed yet after that Hextech Revolver, so he hasn't backed after that kill yet. So no more items from him yet. Just a good old game. So, can I talk about winning lanes? Let's talk about who's winning their lane right now. In bot lane, we have Misfortune with 109 last hits and Vayne with 121 last hits. There are different ways to measure how you're winning the lane, but one of the good ones is definitely in the amount of last hits that you've gotten, the amount of gold that you've gotten from the game, because the whole reason really for being in lane is protecting your tower, keeping map control and vision, and then getting the 2 biggest resources in the game, which are gold and experience. So that's the whole reason why you're there. They haven't been zones, they haven't been losing experience. We see that Vayne is 10, Chili is 10. Oh! Yeah, I killed Singe. Anyway, they're both at the same experience. So Vayne has a slight lead on gold. He has a slight lead on last hits. Otherwise, though, there seems to be no damage on either tower. So who could be said to be winning this lane? Probably Vayne, but just by a very small margin. Meanwhile, oh, Annie pulling off a nice kill with a stun on Vlad in the tower, but dying from the secondary damage from Vlad's ult. Who could be said to be winning this lane? Interestingly, we have 105 last hits versus 124 last hits for Annie leading that, but we have 2 kills for Vladimir and 1 death, and 2 kills for Annie. A kill is worth about 300 gold, or is worth, 300 gold unless it's first blood, which is 400, and then scaling based on the person who died, their KD ratio. So actually, they would say to be about even, because you expect 20 last hits at about 20 gold per last hit is, yeah, yeah, that's a little bit less than 400 gold. So they're relatively even. Also, the time spent out of lane that Annies have to suffer because Vladimir killed her can also be taken into play. Meanwhile, top, we have a kind of a simpler situation: 1-0-0 versus 0-1-0. And some damage, actually quite a lot of damage put on top tower. So Jarvan winning this lane. But Jarvan's an asshole. It's kind of hard to win lanes against Jarvan. Even with this nerf, because is this pre-nerf? Yes, this is before the nerf from this past Tuesday, I think. Whoa, last couple of weeks can't really remember. Anyway, but Jarvan is still good if you saw the nerfs.